Good morning. Welcome back to Zoom Live. How are we doing today, ladies and gents? Feeling good, I hope. Energized, ready to take on the market. Good morning. All right, good to have you guys here with me. Today we're doing something a little special. It's the pre-market session is open to everybody today. After the pre-market session, guys, we're going to move over to our usual Zoom session with the live trading members, and we're going to start collecting bags for the first 1.5 or 2 hours or so. But today the pre-market is open to all. Now, for those of you who are Zoom members, bear with me. I will not be going through the strategies in this session, but once we're on to our usual link, don't worry. If you have any questions or anything like that, I'll be happy to run through them for you and run through the strategies, the systems, the BC8, 7, 4, whichever you want me to go over, I'll be happy to do that for you. And of course, when market opens, when it comes time to pointing out setups, you'll be hearing that it's a BC8 for so-and-so reason, BC4 for so-and-so reason. All right, so bear with me for this first 25 or so minutes ahead of us. Okay, so the important thing to do here when you come to the market in the morning at this time is to build a context for the market, right? You want to have a clear understanding as to what has transpired thus far, what has happened, where are we, where have we come from, and where can we go? All right, so that's what we're going to do here successfully today. Yesterday, we had a magnificent move to the downside, all of which was anticipated and planned for in advance. The previous day, we had a 300-400 point move that was 100% planned for in advance. All right, so these pre-market sessions are incredibly important. They are golden. To be prepared and to understand, which scenarios can unfold. As traders, we don't know what's going to happen when the market opens or for the first hour, 2 hours. Nobody knows. Well, maybe some people do know, but we definitely don't, and we'll never be able to know. But what we can do is plan for what could happen. We could plan for very specific scenarios, what can play out. Okay, whether it's to the upside, downside, sideways price action, we can plan for that with very, very specific price points. Nothing is ambiguous. Nothing is random. Nothing is by chance. The market is a design, and we correctly and properly plan for what could occur in advance. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that now. So what you want to do is you want to start from your high time frames. Okay, you want to build that context from the top-down analysis. Understand what is happening with the high time frames, and then work your way down to have a more specific understanding as to what could happen on the day, right? So what I mean by that is on the weekly, perhaps we could be short bias, but perhaps on the daily, it's a long bias, okay? Or on the hourly, it's a short bias, but on the 15-minute, it's a long bias. So there could be conflict of information from different time frames. Each one is a world of its own. Now, of course, time frame alignment is great, but it's not necessary for us day traders. Okay, but it is important nonetheless to understand where these key critical levels are and where they're coming from, so that when we interact with them intraday, we're aware of it. You want nothing to take you by surprise. You want to be prepared. You want to know where you are and where you could go at all times. Okay, so I'm going to start with the weekly time frame. I'm going to go ahead and maximize this window so we can focus. Now I'm going to take off these indicators here. If you're wondering what this is on the bottom, that's ATR, guys. That's your average true range 14. Okay, so let's go to the weekly. For the most part, this pre-market session has been a little uneventful. You did manage to collect bags if you were doing the BC8 and if you were here from London Open. London was great, right? And I have that recorded, the trade that I did take this morning on a couple of accounts. I uploaded that over to YouTube, so you're going to find that video there as well if you want to watch through and see, you know, what I was aiming for and why. And worked out great, thankfully. So I am sitting in the green, and now I'm going to wait and see what happens for market open and work our way from there. So as we said yesterday, guys, the weekly time frame, our previous break point from here, you see we broke over, came back, retested it, and it happened to break under. Right? It could have gone under and back over and held above and ran up to this buy side liquidity at 26,400, but so far it hasn't done that. What it's telling us, what the market's telling us so far right now, is that as we're trading below this level, the bears are in control. Okay, so there's short selling pressure, and it's on its way down to a destination in the market. Now, is it a random destination? Is it somewhere completely random? No, it's sell side liquidity on that time frame. So on the weekly time frame, we know that if we stay below this level, 25370, that we're on our way overall, big picture, down to this level here. Specific price of 24157.75. That's where the market's being drawn to. Okay, you got to understand the market's always going somewhere. It's always on a mission, and that is currently the mission right now on the weekly time frame to get down to this level. It's got about 600 points or so more to go. Quite confident it's going to happen. Okay, so let's see. Of course, it could turn around at any moment, but just saying, for the time being, trading below this level, it's sending it down to the sell side liquidity here. Okay, so we know that we're short bias. We are weak on the weekly time frame. Does everybody understand that? Jump on over after that to the daily. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to mark out this weekly level. So that's my weekly break point right now, and we're trading under it. So I know that that's a sign of weakness. And down here we have our weekly pivot low. Okay, so that's where the market's being drawn to right now. All right. Anybody else other than Shore Guy understand what I just went through? All right, so let's go to the daily chart. Now, what do we see on the daily? Well, on the daily chart, this is interesting. This level's been tested already 2 days ago. We had a massive move to the upside that I also pointed out in advance of a 4,500 point. And we did take advantage. It was a beautiful day when we picked up liquidity under this pivot low and it rammed back on over. While everyone else was trapped down here, the longs got out because they were scared, because, well, that's how the market works. It's designed to scare people out of positions and to trick people into positions. So this level down here, sell side liquidity in the daily, picked up, boom, and went right back on over a couple hundred points, to which we did take full advantage. So this currently is our sell side liquidity point here in the daily chart. Right now, again, you can see that today we did pick up liquidity below the specific price of 24709, and we are back on over. Okay, so if the price stays over this level, well, that's going to be a sign of strength. Okay, that's going to be a sign that the longs are trying to hold above this level, and we could see some momentum to the upside. All right, based on the daily. Okay, now if you're looking for weakness in the market, well, you're on the daily chart specifically, you're going to want to see price stay under this 709 level. Okay, it's been critical for the last few days and today, and now it's very interesting to see what happens with this 709. Okay, it's right there. It's teasing that level. Let's see what occurs. If we stay over, that's going to be a sign, again, that the market may want to push back on up. Okay, and if it does, where is buy side liquidity in the daily? It's all the way up here. Okay, 25830.5. Is that going to come today? Probably not. We're not going to move 1,000 points today. But on the daily chart, if we stay over this level, well, the market's destination is going to be here. That's what it's going to be drawn to, this very specific price. Okay, so 709, long story short, you're going to want to have that level on your charts today, ladies and gents. Watch that, see how the market responds to it. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that here. Fantastic. So we know on the daily that that is our level of importance. Now, what about destinations? Where can the market get to if we stay under this level 709? Where can we head to? Well, we know for a fact that if we stay under 24709, that the next destination is going to be down here. Okay, this very specific point, 24410.25. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that with a different color. That is our destination. Today on the daily chart, Is it going to necessarily get there? No, of course not. Nothing is guaranteed. We are simply planning for what could happen. Okay, that's our job as traders, to plan, lay out the playing field, understand the levels that we're dealing with and what can occur and where we can go. So I know for a fact today that if we stay below 24709, with high probability, there's a very good chance the market will be drawn down to 24,410.25. We've talked about that point the last few days. We know it's there. We're waiting for it. That is a destination for shorts. So if the market sets up shorts today for a number of reasons based on any of my BC strategies, then you can look for that as a long-term destination. Quick parentheses, why is this so important? Why are we doing this? Why are we making this planning? Well, because if you have these very specific price points laid out and planned for, then you can maximize the return on your trades. You can maximize the return on your trades. People ask all the time, well, you know, people say all the time, you've got to hold on to your winners, right? You got to cut your losers and hold on to your winners, right? Most people, though, won't tell you why you need to hold on to your winners. What do you need to hold them for? What am I holding it for, right? It's easy to say, hold on to your winners, but if you don't have a plan, if you don't have a very clear target and blueprints of the price action, then you don't know what you're holding for. It's impossible to hold. You must be able to hold. You must be able to identify where the market's going to go for you to be able to hold, to have the confidence and conviction to hold, right? And that's why it's so important to have these levels laid out. Because once you find yourself in a short, okay, let's just say that market sets up a fantastic short for any number of reasons and you find yourself in a short somewhere, it's nice to know that that level is there, it exists, and it is very, very, very real as far as magnets in the markets are concerned. So you can then hold that one contract or those two contracts for that 300-point move, and you can make a killing, okay, like a lot of my members do. So this is the destination on the daily. Again, don't forget about 709. Now let's move over to the 4-hour time frame. Let me load up some more days. Alrighty, so on the 4-hour time frame, we have, and let me remove these other levels. You should have those marked or noted down on some piece of paper by now. But on the 4-hour, we have this previous point that did break down. Okay, we have this buy side liquidity point specifically here at 249.59.75, and this pivot low here at 247.32. Okay, so what's happened with these two levels? What can we see? What can we determine? Well, this was the pivot low at the time. Price came down, broke under, picking up sell side liquidity, then it gets back on over. Long juice starts to come in, okay, and now it's coming back to test again this level. So what can we determine from this? As long as the price stays above this level here, on a 4-hour time frame, we can have momentum to the upside. We can look for longs, generally speaking, as far as the liquidity is concerned. Okay, and what side of liquidity that we're on. So if we stay above this level, 732, that's going to be a sign of strength for the longs. If we get back under 732, we hold below it, rest assured we're going to come and test this current pivot low. That is where the current most fresh sell side liquidity is sitting. And that is at 24603.75. 24603.75. All right. So put simply, if the price stays below this level, chances are we're coming down here to test this pivot low. Okay, so it's good to know that. Good to know that that is the destination for the market on the 4-hour time frame. It's the current magnet, the vacuum, the black hole, however you want to see it. That's where the market's going to want to go. If, however, we stay over this level, then we're going to potentially make our way up to here. All right, now we've got 43 minutes left on this 4-hour candle, which is currently red. If it closes red, well, then what's going to happen is the market's going to have created a new fresh buy-side liquidity point. So this level here, I'm going to adjust it down here, okay, at that time. But as it hasn't closed yet, I'm going to leave my level here. That is the established pivot high at this time. right? The official most recent at this time. So I'm going to leave that level there. This level here, prior breakpoint, and most recent pivot low. Those are the liquidity points that are really going to matter to me here today for now. In 45 minutes, that could very well change, like I said, and this moves down here. All right. So we've got our scenarios here for the 4-hour time frame where we can go. All right. Once more, last time, if we stay over this level, we can make our way here. If we stay under this level, get under it and stay under, we're going here. Now, once we get to this level down here, what could happen is we pick up sell side liquidity here, break under, get back over, at which point we are then in a long bias, and the market can then push back to pivot highs at the left-hand side, okay? Otherwise, what happens is if we stay under this level, we break under and we stay below, well, then we're gonna slide down potentially to that 4 level, that 400 level I was talking about just before on the daily, okay, which is, let's see, just right there, all right, so 410. Perfect. The 4-hour time frame also lines up with a daily. Fantastic. So if we stay below this level, if eventually today we break and hold under 24603.75, we're going to make our way down here. And if it continues, which it very well could, it's the market, anything can happen, 24158 is the next destination. Now this area here, I would say, is a last resort. Those of you on Zoom know why it's a last resort. Okay, so you can get a lot of reaction from here. Everyone's going to be watching this level, so it's quite important. We will eventually arrive there, have no doubt about it. And when it does arrive there, you're going to want to know about it. Okay, you're going to want to have that level on your screen and observe price action at that time. Okay, so I'm going to mark this level out here, 4-hour pivot high. This is our 4-hour pivot low. I'm going to focus on this point mostly here today. Very interested to see what the market does when we get to 24603.75. Could very well happen today. You're going to want to have your eyes on that level when it arrives. Okay, you're going to want to see, do we break and hold under that, or is it going to go under even 50 or 100 points and then find its way back over? If it gets back over, it means it was a liquidity grab, a fake out to the downside, and you can get that buying momentum. After, of course, we get confirmation of trend from the BC8 or get a confirmation entry from the BC7 or the BC4. If you don't know what those things are, don't worry about it. We teach them on Zoom. Okay, so let's move forward now to the hourly. What is the hourly time frame telling us? On the hourly, we've just created sell side liquidity here. We have buy side exactly there. Okay, so we've got buy side at 24859.75. We have sell side at 24659.25. Okay, so you're going to want to watch these two levels, see what price action does when it gets there. And if we get to this level, if we manage to break and hold above it, without a doubt, we are then going to go to the next buy side liquidity point. That's where the market's going to be drawn to. It's a fact. Otherwise, if we get to this level and manage to fail to hold above it and get back under, well, then our sell side is going to be our destination. Those are two scenarios that can happen based on the hourly time frame. What about this level here? Let's not forget that one. Sell side liquidity at the moment. It's the most fresh pivot low. If we get down here and get back on over, then we're going to look for longs. We're going to know that, okay, maybe there's going to be strength in the market, can push its way back up to the buy side. Otherwise, if we break and hold under this level, we're going to come here next. That is the 4-hour pivot low, in fact, this level here. Okay, so if we stay under this level, we are coming here. Okay, so that is the hourly at this time. Now, I'm not going to go to smaller time frames. I like to focus more on the higher time frames. They're more meaningful, more impactful. You know, I like to have an idea of what the overall higher time frame trends are doing, because that's where you're going to get the larger moves. The larger reactions are going to come off the 60-minute, the 4-hour interactions, right? So that's what we're watching for here. Now, as far as supply and demand, let's go ahead and look at the 4-hour time frame quickly, just to be aware of where that's at. Okay, so we're talking about liquidity points, potential breakdown points, breakout points, and possible liquidity grab points. That's what we've gone through now on all time frames. Okay, so typically on our Zoom sessions, we have our levels still laid out on the daily, the main ones, the 4-hour, the hourly. but I've removed them now just for the sake of clarity to work through one segment at a time. Okay, so on the 4-hour time frame, we have demand here. Those of you who are in Zoom, you know how we're finding that level and why we're finding it. That specific price point is essentially the BC7 and the higher time frames. And so that's what we're currently reacting to right now. That is the 4-hour demand. And 4-hour levels, guys, are like Goliath points. They are Mammoth, King Kong, Godzilla zones. Okay, that's where you see those 200, 300, 400, 500 point reactions off of. And super important to know where they are, because if you're going against the grain, that's probably because you're not aware where supply or demand is at that time, right? And so a lot of losses can be incurred for no reason, just not knowing where you are. That's why it's so important for us to do this pre-market analysis, right? So we can see here that in the 4-hour we have this demand holding price up. It's already caused the reaction from here, really here too with an offset. In fact, the 4-hour demand starts here at the top of this candle. So you had this reaction here. We've already had a 1,000 point reaction off of this 4-hour zone. Then we came back and we had another 700 point reaction off of here. And now we've come back again today, right at 24,700 once more. And we've already had a, not too much baby reaction, but it's 150 points. Okay. So we're sitting there now. It's just good to know that that's where you're sitting, okay, so that you're not blind today. You're aware that you're sitting in this 4-hour demand. Now, this 4-hour demand or hourly demand, does that mean that it's going to hold from there? Not necessarily. It very well could come all the way to the bottom, pick up the sell side liquidity from the bottom of that zone. It is possible, right? And that's why when we're using the BC2, right, supply and demand, we have those confirmation triggers that we are looking for using the other BC strategies as well. An extra layer of security so that you're watching to see, okay, I want confirmation of strength into this zone. All right, so if you are gonna trade the demand today, guys, Zoom members, make sure that you wait for that kind of confirmation. The banker setup, as I've taught it. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now the 4-hour supply at the moment is situated right here, and then the next one is going to be up here. Okay, so right now you can see we've already reacted to that, sending it lower. So right now, what do you see? I see a sandwich. Okay, we're stuck inside the sandwich of demand and supply, which generally results in what, guys? Let me hear it. Chop, right? Chop. Consolidation, right? There's reaction in a force field from the upside and the downside. So when the price is there in between those areas, it's not really good. Okay, you want to have freedom of movement. And right now today, I don't really see freedom of movement potential. Now, of course, this is the 4-hour time frame. As day traders, we're looking for 30-point moves, 50-point moves, 100 points. So we might get that today, and we probably will. Okay, but just pointing out that we do have consolidation on the higher time frames. So good to be aware of that today. Keep in mind, guys, that tomorrow we have FOMC Minutes on Wednesday, tomorrow, 2 p.m. Now, what do I say always, guys? That when we have any kind of Fed meeting, any news headline that is positioned on a Wednesday at 2 p.m. FOMC, Fed, interest rate decision, the minutes meeting, anything that happens on Wednesday on a 2 p.m. time slot, usually what that's going to cause is uncertainty in the market. Okay, because the market is waiting, especially now after this whole shutdown. Market is dying for news and data. So when you have that important release of information coming out, or even a recap of important information, the market's going to wait. It's going to wait for that information to come out. And what does waiting look like? Well, waiting looks like uncertainty. And what does uncertainty look like? Well, we know the candlesticks are a representation of emotions, and so most likely that's going to result in sideways price action, right? Or megaphone price action, fake outs galore, just lack of follow through and trending. Okay, and the easiest trading that you can possibly do is trend trading, right? You've got your trend, it's established, you jump on the train, you take advantage, and it's beautiful. But in this kind of market situation right now, where we're situated as far as news is concerned, it's going to be difficult, right, to get that trending price action that we're looking for. I suspect. Okay, so as well, according to, statistically, probability-wise, compared to last times that it's always happened, it's always the same. All the times in the past, I'd say 8 out of 10 times when we have any kind of Fed or FOMC meeting on Wednesday, the days leading up to that are not so great. Okay, it's not ideal for day traders. Now, yesterday was fantastic. Yesterday was out of control. The entire Zoom team, as far as I'm concerned, was banked like crazy. I saw you guys sharing your P&Ls. Amazing. That's the kind of confidence and conviction and success that I'm always hoping to see in my members. And so I'm really proud of you guys. Well done. Just keep in mind that today is the day before tomorrow's announcement, so it might not be the best. Okay, just keep that in mind. I'm not saying don't trade no matter what. If you see a pristine setup, a BC setup, and you like it, and it's A+ textbook, go for it, right? The odds are in your favor. Just saying, keep in mind, if you start to see signs of ranging, it's for a reason. Okay. Now, on the 15-minute time frame, you can see it's pretty clear that we're already starting to get signs of that, right? This section here, for hours, we're just ranging sideways. We make one strong displacement move to the downside, and again, now we're just ranging. And that could continue. This theme could continue. Sudden moves up or down and then sideways. Okay, so that I'm not at all surprised to see. So please keep that in mind today. Trade safe, risk what you can afford to lose. All right, only trade setups that have a proven accuracy, because guys, gambling is never going to get you anywhere. You might make money one day, but eventually it's going to catch up to you and you'll no longer have accounts. And then you continue this perpetual cycle of hell and doom where you have to start all over again, buy an eval, pass it, pay the fees, and then blow it again, and then continue over and over and over again. So stick to strategies, stick to things that I teach you, because that's what works. That's what actually makes money, right? Long term. If you don't know those strategies or those systems, you know what to do, guys. We're here. We're not going anywhere. Zoom's always going to be here. The doors are always open to greatness. So if you want to come in, feel free. All right, that's the analysis for today. Best of luck today, everybody. I'll see you in the official Zoom session. Guys, let's go ahead and collect some bags now.